Hello, my crafty friend. I just bought this resin bubble removal machine off of Amazon, and we're going to test it out and see if it works. So buckle your seatbelts. Let's get crafting. We are going to take this out of the box, and then I'm going to test out these new molds as well to see how they turn out. So first things first is get this box open and see what we have here. And I have not used any of these machines before, so this is a first. So I bought this book that's on resin dice making. They suggested that you get a pressure pot and you have to get an air compressor to go with that, and it's pretty expensive and I don't have the money at the moment. So I am going to start middle ground and try the bubble removal machine to see if I can get more of the bubbles out until I can save the money for the pressure pot, and then we can make a video on the pressure pot and how that works. Like, how could they not actually come with instructions? But they put it inside. There it is. So we'll get that out. Let's set the box aside. So the reason this is not top notch, what I read, like you got your resin in here and then you vacuum it, it gets the bubbles up to the top, and you can use your heat gun to get rid of the bubbles, but then you still have to pour it into your molds, and that can cause bubbles. So with the pressure pot, you actually put your molds inside the pressure pot and let that sit while they cure, and it compresses so that the resin stays inside the mold and all the bubbles come out. This one just vacuums it and brings the bubbles to the top. We will go ahead and give this a shot and see if we can get rid of at least most of the bubbles to make clearer, better items. So let's see what is in here. This little vacuum thing. Okay, user manual. This must be the little charger thing that you put on top. Yep, sure enough. Alrighty. So user manual says place the resin cup in the center of the vacuum machine and securely close the lid. Firmly grip the machine and slowly lift the lid with both thumbs to avoid resin overflow. Ooh, that's why you can't just put the molds in there, because it will flow over. Okay, and it talks about how the temperature needs to be over 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Alright, so plug this baby in, get our resin mixed up, and see how it works. Well, I'll just set that aside while I mix up the resin. Oh, and I also want to show you guys, I was using these silicone cups for pouring my resin, and they were good for a minute, but they're too thick. Can't like fold them in so you can get all the resin out of it. I would say these are more for baking than they are for resin, so I do not suggest using the thicker ones that you can't fold in on itself. So what I did was purchase these, but these are thinner, and so you can actually fold them in on themselves. So you can clean on the inside and get all that resin out. And this one's just big enough. You don't really need to fold it in on itself. This one goes up to 600 milliliters. Well, I was just letting y'all know what kind of silicone measuring cups seem to work better for me anyways. But I'll put the links for all these products in the description below, so that if it's something that you would like to try out yourself, you can be able to get it there. I want to start by putting on my gloves, safety first. So I'm just going to use a small amount of resin for this test, and I'm going to separate it into 3 cups. And I want to add the color before I put it in there, because when you go to stir it, you will stir in bubbles. So I don't want to remove the bubbles, then add the color, then stir it, and add more bubbles. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So I'm going to make a small amount. I'll go ahead and do this, just goes up to 100 milliliters. I'm going to go ahead and do the 100 milliliters and split it between the 3. And we're going to use 3 different colors here, and since we're doing like stones and stuff, I found this very fitting that the colors I'm choosing are the ruby, the jadeite, and the purple agate. So I think these will look awesome and get exactly what I want for the stones. And the silicone stirring sticks also came with the measuring cups, which I think is awesome because you don't have to worry about the resin sitting on the stick for too long and you having to throw it away, which I have gone through a lot of stirring sticks because I accidentally leave it in the resin for too long. You know, life of an artist. I think for this one, I'm just going to use the Let's Resin epoxy resin. So this is a 1:1, yeah, it's a 1:1 ratio by volume. So that means not by weight, by volume. So I'm just going to take each little bit and add 50 milliliters of each and then stir it right up. You know, actually, I am really curious how this is going to work, but it's going to be awesome to be able to get the pressure pot and actually put the molds in there. But I think this machine will do pretty well as that middle ground, like, because even if it doesn't get rid of all the bubbles, because, you know, like I was saying, when you go to pour it, sometimes the bubbles are going to creep up, especially in like the little crevices and stuff. But you let me know, have you ever tried one of these, or do you have the pressure pot? What do you think is the best for everything? You know what, I might actually like stir this faster to get more bubbles in it, just to make sure they all get out. That's pretty smart, huh? Because this is a test, you know. I'm gonna stir it fiercely. But no, I'm looking to get into like the D&D dice making, and the way to really become a professional at that is by having the pressure pot. I have made a few D&D dice, but I'm just getting started at those. I really would like to become one of those professionals that has all the different kind of like the Petri and the, you know, I saw one the other day where they put little ducks inside of the dice. And I thought that was funny. But I thought it was cute too, because my man and I actually have a little duck collection going on. We don't have a Jeep or anything. I know those really started with the Jeep, but oh, look, I'm getting a lot of good bubbles in there. I gotta make sure it's mixed up really well. I've got this chest set too I'm trying to make, but whenever I use the clear resin, it leaves the micro bubbles in there. So I thought maybe if this machine works really well, that I could show you the chest pieces and they won't have any bubbles in them, is my hope. But we'll see how this turns out. Right, I think that is stirred really well. Very bubbly. See, made sure I got plenty of bubbles in there. Alright, and then I'm just going to separate it into the 3. And then we're going to stir in the colors and then add more bubbles to that. That's the best way to do it. Well, lots of bubbles to make sure our machine works. Okay, I'm going to use a bit more of the red because I would like these to be the ruby. And then these can be the purple and the green. So these are just it's just the resin pigment, and it's going to come out more translucent. Oh, I haven't opened that one yet. Let me get it open. Alright, here we go. Just going to put 3 or 4 drops. I want it looking nice, but not too thick. Alright, is this one open? It is. Alright, now we have the jadeite. And then the ruby goes in the bigger one. That should do it. And for these, I'm actually going to end up trying to use these with a different mold that I have, and I will show that on another video for you guys. I think I've got the idea in my head, and I think it's going to come out really good. Actually, the last video that I did was the seashell. If you haven't seen it, there's a clickable link up here you can come back to and click on that. I did a seashell trinket box that I used mica powder in. And one of the reasons that I actually got this machine is that a viewer had brought to my attention that the reason I got spots inside of that trinket box, which thank you for letting me know, is that I didn't stir the mica powder well enough. And I realized that I have this paranoia that when I stir it too much, I'm going to put too many bubbles in there. And so sometimes I don't end up stirring the powder in all the way. So I thought this was a really good idea because I can stir this as much as I want, get as many bubbles in there as possible. And then this machine will take them out. So, well, that's the hope. This is us seeing if it actually works. So got the red stirred up. Look at all those nice little bubbles we got going on in there. I'm just getting out my little wipes here. I get these from the Dollar Tree. I really like them because they have a lot of the moisture on them. The alcohol cleans up the resin really nicely. And you don't have to use a lot of wipes. So I'm just going to use this to clean off the red. And we'll stir up the green and get as many bubbles in there as we can. I'm going to add some more green to this because it is not as green as I would like. That's better. Alright, lots of bubbles in that one too. Next is the purple one after I get this green cleaned off of this here. I really like this. Flexible too. Alright, get the purple going. Lots of bubbles. Stir it fast. I don't know, do you guys get paranoid when you're stirring? Like you're gonna stir way too many bubbles in and it's gonna completely ruin your project? Kind of tend to have anxiety anyway, so that doesn't that doesn't help. Oh, stir just a smidge bit more on this one. Really fast, really fast. There we go, lots of bubbles. This is gonna be a real experiment here. Put these aside so we can get the machine going. Oh, don't want to put it on resin, that's a bad idea. Alright, so we're just going to put these inside here. And it did say that it had a big basin for plenty of space. So you can see all the bubbles that are in there. Now, get out the instructions, make sure I'm doing this properly. I tend to not read the instructions as good as I should. Kind of like emails. I tend to skim emails and I miss stuff. My bad. So place the resin cup in the center of the vacuum. That'll work. Securely close the lid. Alright, plug and play. So got that plugged in. Put this in here. Okay. So red indicator lights up constantly once power is connected. So we got power. Press this button. Okay, it says it turns green after a few seconds. Oh, that's kind of loud, isn't it? Okay. It says wait 5 to 8 minutes to complete. And then press the release button. So we will come back in 5 to 8 minutes. See you then! Alright, it's been 8 minutes, or 5 to 8 minutes, and it said to push the release button, so I did. Alright, next we wait 30 seconds for the pressure to completely release, and then we firmly grip the machine and slowly lift the lid. Okay. Let's see, I'm gonna unplug it here. Let's see what we got. Use your thumbs. It said use your thumbs. Well, looks like there's lots of bubbles at the top. Alright, I'm gonna get the heat gun out and try to get rid of those bubbles and see if there's actually any bubbles on the inside or if it brought every bubble to the top. Well, it didn't overflow, so that's good. I think I want to give it another minute because I don't want to overheat the resin and cause it to fast cure. Done that before. Just let them sit here. A lot of the bubbles are popping on their own. I'll run the heat gun over them one more time. Wow, there's still small bubbles. I don't know if you can see them. No, it definitely has a lot. This seems like the more that was in here, more bubbles are at the top there. Let me try the heat gun one more time. Well, I mean, it got rid of bubbles. So yeah, it did bring most of them to the top, but did not eliminate them. Alright, let's get to pouring. Then I can show you the other projects that I end up doing with these. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to using that outcome to add a little something to another project I got going on, and like I said, that'll be in a future video. So don't forget to like and subscribe so that you can get the notification whenever that video comes out and you can see what we end up doing with these. Alright, so let's split. You know, I think I'm gonna try those little squirter things. These came with the measuring cups, so might as well use them. These are small. I think I'll make an emerald here. Yeah, just put a bubble in there. Awesome. We can just let that come to the top and use the heat gun to get rid of it. But you know, I think it did get rid of a decent amount of bubbles there. So I'm just going to use the different colors here and spread them out amongst these two. And then we'll move on to the other tray with just the ruby. So I'll fast forward through this so we can get over to that and you can see the outcome of all of these. Alright, I still had to remove a couple bubbles from the top there. You saw I still had to use the heat gun. And a couple bubbles were stubborn, so I had to poke at them, but I got them. And then I'll just fill up these real quick and we'll come back and after they're dry and I'll show you how they turned out. And we'll have our final verdict on, is the vacuum machine a good buy or a bad buy? Alright, see you then. Alright, it is the next day and these are dry enough to take out of the molds now. And we will come up with our verdict on whether this machine actually worked or not. So we'll start with these right here, the small, oh, it's cute. Okay, well, I must say that came out pretty darn clear. Like, I don't see any bubbles through it. whatsoever. Alright, let's look at a little bit bigger one here. Now for these. These are a little bit thicker. Well, I will say I don't see any bubbles. Not even those pesky little micro bubbles. I ended up using all 3 colors on this one. Looks pretty clear. When I went to purchase the machine, the claim was that it removes 99.9% of bubbles. And that wasn't true. You saw there was still like a bunch of bubbles on the top and some bubbles trapped on the very bottom of the measuring cup. But for the most part, it did help get rid of the bubbles. And if I just let it set a little while after I took it out of the machine, then most of the bubbles actually popped on their own. So it was helpful. It was helpful in removing bubbles, but also another thing, it can't prevent the bubbles after you pour into the mold, because you will see that I have a couple little bubble spots here from after pouring into the mold on some of these. So the verdict is helpful, yes. Removes all bubbles, no. So in the future, when I get the money saved up, I am going to invest into the pressure pot, and I will put a video out for you guys so you can see if that one works better than the vacuum bubble remover does. And also, don't forget, I will be using these in a future project, so I'll put a video out for that too. So thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.